Chapter 3. I had a boyfriend in my early 20s named Amos who liked being choked. It's why we broke up, because I refused to choke him. But sometimes I wonder where I'd be had I entertained his urge. Would we be married now? Would we have children? Would he have moved on to even more dangerous sexual perversions? I think that's what worried me the most with him. In your early 20s, vanilla sex should satisfy a person without the need to introduce fetish so early on in a relationship. I like to think about Amos when I find myself disappointed with the current state of my life. As I stare at the pink eviction notice in Corey's hand, I remind myself that it could be worse. I could still be with Amos. I opened my apartment door further, allowing Corey to step inside. I wasn't aware he was coming over, or I would have made sure there was no eviction notice taped to my door. It's the third day in a row I've received one. I take it from him and shove it into a drawer. Corey holds up a champagne bottle. Thought we could celebrate the new contract, he says, handing me a bottle. I'm appreciative he doesn't mention the eviction. It's not as dire now that I have a paycheck on the horizon. What I'll do up until then, I'm not sure. I might have enough money for a few days in a hotel. I can always pawn what's left of my mother's things. Corey has already taken off his coat and is loosening his tie. This used to be our routine before my mother moved in. He'd show up and begin loosening pieces of his clothing until we were under the covers in my bed. That came to a complete halt when I found out through social media that he had been on a few dates with a girl named Rebecca. I didn't stop our sexual relationship out of jealousy. I stopped it out of respect for the girl who wasn't aware of it. How's Becca? I asked as I opened the cabinet to find two glasses. Corey hand paused on his tie, as if he's shocked I'm aware of what's going on in his love life. I write suspense novels, Corey. Don't be so surprised that I know all about your girlfriend. I don't watch for his reaction. I open the bottle of champagne and pour two glasses. When I go to hand one to Corey, he's seated at the bar. I stayed on the opposite side and we raise our glasses. But I lower mine before he can make a toast. I stare down at my champagne flute, finding it impossible to think of anything to toast about other than the money. It's not my series, I say. They are in my characters, and the author responsible for the success of these books is injured. I feel wrong to toast to this. Corey Glass is still paused mid-air. He shrugs and then downs his entire glass in one sip, handing it back to me. Don't focus on why you're playing the game, just focus on the finish line. I roll my eyes as I set his empty glass in the sink. Have you ever even read one of her books? He asked. I shake my head and turn on the water. I should probably do dishes. I have 48 hours to be out of this apartment, and my dishes are something I want to take with me when I go. Nope, have you? I poured dish soap into the water and grabbed a sponge. Corey laughs. No, she's not my style. I look up at him just as he realized that his words doubled as an insult to my own writing, considering I was offered this job because our supposed similar writing styles, according to Verity's husband. Not what I meant, he says. He stands up and walks around the bar, standing next to me at the sink. He waits for me to finish scrubbing a plate and then he takes it from me and begins rinsing it off. It doesn't look like you're packed anything. Have you found a new apartment yet? I have a storage building and plan to have most of it out by tomorrow. I've put in an application at a complex in Brooklyn, but they won't have anything for 2 weeks. The eviction notice says you have 2 days to be out. I'm aware of that. So, where are you going? A hotel? Eventually, I'm leaving Sunday for Verity Crawford's house. Her husband says I'll need to go through her office for a day or two before I start the series. Immediately upon signing the contract this morning, I received an email from Jeremy with directions to their house. I requested to come on Sunday, and luckily he agreed. Corey takes another dish from me. I can feel him staring at me. You're staying at their house? How else am I supposed to get her notes for the series? Have him mail them to you. She has over a decade worth of notes and outlines. Jeremy said he wouldn't even know where to begin, and it would be easier if I sorted through it myself. Corey doesn't say anything, but I can sense he's biting his tongue. I slide the sponge down the length of the knife in my hand and then hand it to him. What are you saying? I asked. He rinses the knife in silence, sets it in a strainer, then grips the edge of the sink and turns his head towards me. The man lost 2 daughters. Then his wife gets injured in a car wreck. I'm not sure I'm all that comfortable with you being in his home. The water suddenly seemed too cold for me. Chills run down both arms. I turn off the water and dry my hands, leaning my back against the sink. Are you suggesting he has something to do with any of it? Corey shrugs. I don't know enough about what happened to suggest anything, but has that thought not crossed your mind that maybe it's not the safest thing to do? You don't even know them. I'm not ignorant. I've been digging up as much as I can find about them online. Their first child was at a sleepover 15 miles away when she had an allergic reaction. Neither Jeremy nor Verity was there when it happened, and the second daughter drowned in the lake behind their home. But Jeremy didn't arrive home until the search for her body was already in place. Both were rude accidents. I can see why Corey is concerned, because I was too, honestly. But the more I dig, the less I find to be concerned about. Two tragic, unrelated accidents. And what about Verity Carr's wreck? It was an accident, I say. She hit a tree. Corey's expression suggests he isn't convinced. I read there weren't any skid marks, which means she either fell asleep or she did it on purpose. Can you blame her? I'm irritated that he's making baseless claims. I turn around to finish the dishes. She lost both of her daughters. Anyone who suffers through something like that will want to find a way out. Corey dries his hand on a dish towel and then grabs his jacket off the bar stool. Accident or not, the family obviously has shit luck and a hell of a lot of emotional damage. So you need to be careful. Get in, get what you need, and leave. How about you worry about the contractual details, Corey? I'll worry about the research and writing part of it. He slips on his jacket. Just looking out for you. Looking out for me? He knew my mother was dying and he wasn't checking in with me in 2 months. He's not looking out for me. He's an ex-boyfriend who thought he was going to get laid tonight, but instead was quietly rejected right before finding out I'll be staying in another man's home. He's disgusting. Disguising his jealousy as concern. I walk him to the door, relieved he's leaving this soon. I don't blame him for wanting to escape. This apartment has had a weird vibe in it since my mother moved in. It's why I haven't even bothered fighting the lease or informing the landlord that I'll have the money in 2 weeks. I want out of this place more than Corey does right now. For what it's worth, he says, congratulations. Whether you created the series or not, your writing led you to it. You should be proud of that. I hate it when he say nice things at the height of my irritation. Thank you. Text me as soon as you get there Sunday. I will. And let me know if you need any help moving. I won't. He laughs a little. Okay then. He doesn't hug me goodbye. He salutes me as he backs away. We've never parted more awkwardly. I have a feeling our relationship is finally as it should be. Agent and Arthur. Nothing more. And that's the end of chapter 3. Stay tuned for the next chapter.